been telling you that we got a pretty major announcement. Earlier this year, we expanded our staff from 2, which is you and me, to 3 with the addition of Ishmael Johnson, who joined us as an editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, as well as some other projects we have here in the DCTF universe. We're expanding our staff again. We have been looking for the right guy to expand our college football coverage. Somebody who could really give us the kind of insidery stuff that we want in the college football ranks. But those people are hard to find. They're very hard to find. Luckily, though, we found one. And so it is my distinct pleasure to announce that the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff has added, as its college football insider, David Ubben. David Ubben is joining the Dave Campbell's Texas Football staff. We are thrilled to have him here. He started today. We've even agreed to pay him, which is nice. But we are thrilled to expand the staff to include David. A little bit earlier, I had a conversation with him. And so here is your first look at David Ubben, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, college football insider here on Texas Football Today. The secret is out now after setting the internet aflame. Now everybody knows that the major announcement from Dave Campbell's Texas Football is that we've added to our staff. It's a boy. And that boy is David Ubben, the new college football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. He joins us now. Hi, David.
Listen, maybe it's a little north of the border, but I'm a man, Greg.
He's a man. He's a man. And he is, you're not 40.
Getting there. 30.
No, yeah.
I'm north of 30. We'll go there.
North of 30 is fine. Well, welcome aboard. We're thrilled to have you here. For those who may not know of all of your journeys, you've written for darn near everybody that's worth anything.
I think so.
Yeah, I know because I first met you when you were at Fox, but you've written for ESPN, you've written for The Athletic most recently, and all that fun stuff. And so tell everybody a little bit about who you are.
Yeah, so I am a native Arkansan. People seem to be surprised when they find this out, but
or dismayed.
One or the other, actually. I've got some good Arkansas stories, some good stories of being a native Arkansan in the wild. But, yeah, so, I covered Oklahoma coming out of college, the disastrous 2009 team. That was fun. The Sam Bradford shoulder explosion.
Yes.
The Jermaine Gresham no-show. It was an interesting year. And then I joined ESPN, covered the Big 12 for them for 3.5 years. Joined Fox Sports Southwest. Some of the people are familiar with Big 12 Live. I did that show for a couple years. Fox, as they're wont to do, laid me off. So I ended up perusing the freelance wilderness for a couple years, and it's been interesting. It's been an interesting road. Started the Flyover Country podcast. Some people seem to enjoy. And yeah, I've spent 2+ years writing for Sports on Earth, chipping in at The Athletic, handful of other things here or there. Started my own site this year, Flyover Country, and now I'm here. Dave Campbell's Texas Football. I'm excited. It's going to be great. I'm psyched.
We are thrilled to have you. Finally, somebody who knows what they're talking about on staff.
We'll
here.
see. Give me time.
But I want to ask you because you are. You're as locked in on the Big 12 and this football in this part of the country and the SEC and all that fun stuff, being an Arkansan, as anybody. Let's take a look back for a second. Let's weigh in on the big topic of the day, which is everyone said the SEC was down, and yet now the SEC has both national finalists. David Ubben, is the SEC down?
Well, I think those things can simultaneously be true. I think anyone who watched the SEC this year, it was pretty clear. You had Georgia, you had Alabama, you had Auburn, who were all pretty much elite teams. And then the rest of the SEC was hard to watch, most of it. And those teams, I think pretty clear. I think the committee probably got it right. I think the interesting thing is the committee's two most difficult decisions have been in 2014 and this year. And in both times, Ohio State, the 4 seed in 2014, ended up winning the national title. Alabama this year, rather convincingly knocked off top-seeded Clemson. They're the favorites to win the national title. So, yeah, I think those things can both be true, that this was a really down year for the SEC. There was not a lot of depth there. And even though every conference is top-heavy, I mean, if you're looking beyond Auburn, who did lose to UCF, and you have, obviously, Bama and Georgia who are going to play for the title, if you're looking for the next best team in the SEC, you're going to be looking a long time.
Yeah.
So, I think both those things are true. But, here we are, and we're going to have a SEC party on Monday with Bama and Georgia in Atlanta. And we'll see. I'm skeptical of the ratings that game's going to get, because I think you're dealing with college football as a national sport and a very, very regional game as its biggest event. So we'll see.
That's very interesting. We're talking with David Ubben, the new college football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Here on Texas Football Today, get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. All right, so let's talk about what we can expect from you. You're going to work, right?
We'll see. I was going to see if I could just coast and just see as long as possible until just no one realizes. Guys,
How long are you going to ride the reputation
guys,
and keep cashing checks and be like, oh, I don't know.
Guys, it's been 2 months, and he had that one appearance like the first day, and since then I haven't seen much. So, but no, everything college football in the state of Texas, from top to bottom, and I think there's so many great stories in this state, and this state is so obsessed with the sport that we need to serve those people and tell great stories, provide some great analysis, and sort of just tell people things they don't know. And I think that if we can do all those things and see what fans want, also be open to what they want to see. And I think if we can do all those things, I think we're going to have a great relationship between such a storied history of a place like Dave Campbell's Texas Football and its readership. So I'm excited for it, for sure.
We're really excited to have you. And I think what's worth mentioning is that, obviously you're going to be talking Texas A&M and Texas Tech and TCU and all that. But, like, college football goes deeper, college football, Division II, Division III, and I think that one of the things that I really love about working here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football is that it's essentially the only state you could do something like this in, because there's so many different teams and so many different personalities and so many different stories that it's really like there's so much to talk about, and there's always an appetite for it, which is something that's always been appealing to me. And let's also not forget, I guess we can make the announcement, we're going to work out the details today.
Maybe.
We're gonna have a college football podcast coming to the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Network.
We are indeed. I'm excited about it. Yeah, a lot more to come, a lot more details to come there. But, I think that's going to be a big part of what we do here, talking college football and doing it a lot. So I'm excited for that. I think we, in my time and launching my own podcast, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of people who want college football podcasts, and there's not a lot of great college football podcasts out there. And hopefully we can be one in the very near future, so I'm excited for that.
We're going to try.
It's always football season in Texas.
It is always football season in Texas, and that's what's great. All right, lightning round real quick. I want to get your quick thoughts on a couple of major topics around the state. First and foremost, I would say the biggest story in the state of the past couple of weeks, or past, I guess, weeks, months, whatever you want to call it. Jimbo Fisher, the new coach at Texas A&M. I think it's hard not to call this a massive coup for Texas A&M. What are your thoughts on overall on Jimbo Fisher?
I mean, obviously it's huge. I think, I believe he's the first coach with a national title already on his resume to leave his current school since like Johnny Majors in 1978, I think, going from Pitt to Tennessee. A&M catches a lot of flack for being a perennial underachiever. I am of the belief that I don't see any reason why A&M is not like a top 10, 15 place in college football. I mean, they should be. They have all of the trappings of a top 10, top 15 program. They just don't have the wins. And so if Jimbo doesn't get it done there, I mean, you might as well just shut down shop at that point. But I mean, I think you look at A&M, you have everything you need there. Obviously, the location. You're in the middle of Texas. You're going to be able to recruit. That's sort of a given. The fan base, obviously. Anyone who lives in Texas, Aggies. You can be, you can be sitting in church and somebody's gonna mention A&M and there's 50 whoops going on. It's just it's just anywhere you are, and so I think that's a big part of Texas. They're everywhere. The Aggie Network. I mean, I think the A&M fan experience is always interesting because a lot of people that go to Texas and they have kids that go to Baylor or things like that, but there's A&M families. I feel like if your parents went to A&M and you don't go to A&M, like I've seen families split for less. I mean, I think you see this like generational thing with A&M that you don't really see with the Baylors, with the Texas Techs, with the Texas.
Special.
It is a special place. And then obviously New Kyle Field. Their facilities, are as good as anyone in the country. So, you've got everything there, and I don't know what has been missing for Texas or for Texas A&M. I mean, they've obviously missed on some coaches, but I thought Kevin Sumlin was a good hire. He got it going. Obviously, didn't get to the levels that they want to, but you're paying $75 million guaranteed for Jimbo. I mean, that's as good of a hire as you could possibly want, and I think it's an ego boost for the program, too, because I heard those Jimbo rumors in September, and like many of you, I was like, all right, well, that's a pipe dream, but let's talk about Chad Morris. Yeah. And here we are in January, and A&M, they got their guy. They focused on their guy. They had a pretty coherent job search. They got their number one candidate. Cost them a bunch of money, but it was a good fit for them. And we'll see. I mean, like I said, all the pieces are in place. We'll see. I don't know if that was a lightning round, but
no, that's fine.
A&M, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Give me a quick grade on Tom Herman's first year in Austin.
You got to go C-, honestly. I the last 2 years I picked Texas to go 6-6. I think I saw, like, I didn't really believe. In 2015, they didn't really have any offensive direction. 2016, you still don't really have a quarterback, and the transition year. But this year, Tom Herman, the offensive, guru, I think you'd have to be disappointed that they were so great on defense. I mean, this team looked a lot like Charlie Strong's teams. And so, I mean, getting to where they were, even winning the bowl game, that's not enough for Texas right now. I picked this team to go 8-4. I thought they could lay the groundwork and finish strong and maybe look like a team that could be favored going into 2018 in the Big 12. I don't know that I see that. I mean, you look around the Big 12, obviously Oklahoma's got a lot to prove, but I think they're going to be good. Kyler Murray stepping into a big role there. West Virginia gets Will Greer back. They get, David Stills coming back. There's a lot of competition at the top of the league. Texas, I think they might be a trendy pick come fall, but the first year, I think you got to go C-. No question, underachieved. Because they're not fun to watch. That's the biggest thing.
I kind of agree with that, too. One last thing. Sonny Dykes, the new coach at SMU, takes over for Chad Morris. I know that there were some SMU fans who were hemming and hawing that maybe this wasn't the sexiest pick out there. I happen to like the hire. I think it's a pretty solid hire. Keeps him on the same track. I'm interested in your thoughts.
Well, the American programs are always stuck in an interesting spot because the American is sort of grown into, in such a short time for existing, has grown into like the MAC of the Southwest, like the cradle of coaches. That's where everybody's coming from. That's kind of always been the case at Houston, SMU, looking that way too. And I think SMU fans, I think when they see Sonny Dykes, I think they see a shadow of June Jones in there. They wonder, are his best days behind him? Whereas a lot of the American programs, you're seeing him hire more up-and-comers, the Major Applewhites of the world, obviously the Tom Hermans of the world. You see that a little bit more in the American. And so I kind of get that, and I think when Chad Morris is gone, it tends to be like, okay, well, if things have been going well, you always see those promote from within when everybody loves it, or you go younger. And I think Sonny Dykes, he's kind of just been chilling on TCU for the last year, hanging out. And I think he was in a tough situation in the bowl game. I think that didn't help him going in the offseason. I kind of feel bad for him on that because that's not really a reflection of anything he's done. I think it's just a tough situation. I think they were set up to be in a really rough spot in that bowl game. So I like the hire. I think Sonny Dykes could have gotten a number of maybe bigger jobs, and for SMU to grab him, I think it's a great move for them. We'll see. I think it's certainly a stylistic fit.
I think so too. He is David Ubben. He is the new college football insider for Dave Campbell's Texas Football. You can find all of his work at texasfootball.com and follow him on Twitter at David Ubben, Ubben, which is always, look, as somebody with a weird last name in Tepper, like, we're gonna get along just fine.
Listen, I feel like 70% of people go the long or go the long U, the Ubben. I get that. I stopped correcting people.
Yeah.
Like junior high. I just let it go. It's not worth it at this point.
Just call him David.
I'm happy you're doing that. Listen, once you just give up the correct pronunciation of your name, life just gets much simpler.
It does. It's a burden off of you. So, David Ubben, welcome aboard.
Appreciate it, guys. Excited.